computer probabilities that these teams, Big Four now undefeated, will be unbeaten entering the bowls. Bama only given a 50-50 chance because of the SEC championship game. The Iron Bowl on the road, Florida State given the best chance. Computers not believing that Ohio State is going to make it through the bowls. Perhaps looking at Michigan State, potential opponent in Indy, and Baylor. Not that big win. So Paul Feinbaum joins us. David's back. You know, guys, less than 50-50. That Florida State and Alabama will both be undefeated on Championship Saturday. Less than 50-50. That means half of you guys think they're going to stumble next few weeks. So, hand up. Who thinks Bama or if FSU goes down in the next few weeks? None of you. See it?
Why not?
You do?
I mean, to who? I don't think FSU goes down, but I think there's a chance Bama could go down.
So you have the better chance.
Yeah. Well, we're playing the math game with 50% metrics and stuff. But definitely, I mean, you got to look at the schedule. Absolutely.
Based on competition, I mean, they can go down tonight.
If you don't think LSU can beat Alabama, you're crazy.
Right. They can go down tonight. No, and they can go down there.
I agree with you because Alabama plays LSU, and then they play Auburn, and then they play a nationally ranked team in the SEC championship.
Right.
So they got
that's why the odds are the way they are, but it doesn't mean they're going to lose.
No.
I mean, those are tough games, but I think they win out.
Auburn game is away too. That's the difference, man, to win that game.
Most people believe that the top two teams control their destiny. It doesn't matter too much what happens as long as Alabama and Florida State keep winning. But the choices are difficult if you take away the names and check out the blind resumes. So let's take a look at teams A and B. I'm not going to reveal who they are. The top 20 and top 40 wins are based on teams in the top 40 of Jeff Sagarin's power ratings, the real ones, not the watered-down ones they use in the BCS, but the better power ratings, and then the opponent's average rank. So, Team A, Team B, both with 2 top 40 wins, but Team A's got the top 20 win and the slightly better quality of competition. Now we're going to unveil teams C, D, and E.
Goodness gracious.
Now, Team D, they have 5 top 40 wins, 4 top 20 wins, and they have the best strength of schedule in terms of the best opponent ranking. So you look at these blind resumes, give me the 2 best teams. If you had to pick this year, the best 2 teams out of there.
Based on that, C and D. C and D look like there's D for sure.
D for sure. I don't know D and
D. You got to. I mean, C just based on these numbers, you'd say.
Lee, what do you think? Blind resume.
No question, C and D.
Those 2 teams, C and D, should be the 2 chosen to play right now.
I think D's lost the game.
Has C or D lost the game?
I think D's Stanford and they've lost the game.
That's why I'm asking.
D has lost a game. There's no column for losses. They have lost the game at Utah. Of course, it came down to a play at the goal line.
Right.
They did lose the game. And the other 4 teams,
like
A, B, C, and E, are undefeated. But Ohio State sitting down there with just the 1 top 40 win.
Right.
And an average opponent rank of 71.
But the
X them out.
But the penalty for Stanford, the interesting debate here with Stanford is everybody, the knee-jerk reaction is what they did to Oregon. They should be way up. Yeah. But there is a penalty for losing a game.
Yeah.
You have to recognize, as good as they looked the other night, that when you go to Salt Lake City and lose to Utah,
right,
you're going to have to face a penalty, and that's why they're behind some of these teams that maybe they've done more than.
I think the question is the severity of the penalty, though.
Yeah.
How much do you penalize them? Is that loss that much greater than that victory over Oregon? That's the question to me.
But here's the problem with that. Alabama has not seen the meat of its schedule yet. It will in the final few weeks of the season, and I think they'll prove they're the best team. I think they already are. You look at Baylor. I mean, Baylor beating Oklahoma doesn't impress me. Who hasn't beaten Bob Stoops badly in the last couple of years?
That's right.
What could Baylor do down the stretch, though, to impress people? In the Oklahoma State, Texas at home?
Yeah. Their schedule's backloaded.
It's backloaded, so it has some big opportunities,
exactly,
big moments. And I think that when
Step 1 was accomplished Thursday night.
Yeah, and it was in impressive fashion. Even more impressive fashion when Tevin Reese gets hurt and Lake Seastrunk goes down and Bryce Petty still leads them because their defense steps up and plays well. I think another thing to consider is not only did they lose, they lost to Utah. For me, it's the equivalent. If you're going to start matching them against other one-loss teams, Oklahoma State lost to Iowa State. That put them out of the mix when you have to look at the loss and say they shouldn't have lost. Because I think Ohio State can beat Utah. No doubt.
I think Ohio State could beat a lot of these teams. I think Ohio State is next after Alabama and FSU. But the thing that bothers me the most about Baylor, they don't play a conference game. And I just don't think you ought to look at a league that doesn't play a title game like the SEC, like the Big Ten, like the Pac-12.
I don't think Ohio State can beat Baylor. I think you put those two teams on a neutral field. I like Baylor's chances.
Go ahead.
Don't forget Ohio State, one thing. They got Michigan and Michigan State if they beat them. Both are big-name teams.
Yeah.
If they run off the score like they have been, they got the idea of bang these guys and get ahead of them. They are typical. They are
But
great.
give Ohio State credit. They're doing what they have to do.
Definitely.
And I like what they're doing.
Now they are. The last couple of weeks, the way that they handled Purdue, the way that they handled Penn State, now they're doing
But
what they have to do.
that's why they are where they are.
Yeah.
If they would have played against Buffalo and San Diego State the way they played the last 2 weeks, you'd have a team like Florida State trying to get up to Ohio State. Ohio State was in a pole position. They forget preseason #2 behind Alabama.
Yeah.
But because of they kind of messed around against inferior opponents, they've been dominant the last 2 weeks.
But Desmond, put Baylor in the SEC. They couldn't go through this schedule. Baylor hasn't played anyone
We
yet.
don't know
That's
that.
what everybody says. It's like saying put Texas A&M in the SEC.
I really believe they
No one
could.
thought that Texas A&M could do what they did last season too.
Right.
Or Missouri too.
Let Baylor do what South Carolina's done. Go to Georgia, go to Tennessee, go to Missouri. They couldn't do it. I'm telling you right
We
now.
don't have two teams that done it already though. So that philosophy is out the window.
Paul, you can't say that.
You can't. I mean, you
because
can't.
we don't know. Baylor,
We don't know, but that's what I
It sounds
believe.
good down
that's
here.
okay that it's what you
No,
believe. I'm just saying-
listen, it's not a matter of sounding good here.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
mean,
don't get Baylor.
You can believe that. That's cool.
That's fine. I mean, I respect what they
That's
tell
cool.
them, but
That's cool. You believe it.
But listen, Bama, they lost last year to A&M.
of course they did.
Bama lost a couple years ago to LSU, so Bama hasn't been able to run the table either when they've had to
Yeah,
get.
but
They lost to South Carolina
David,
several years
look at
ago.
the teams Bama's playing. That's my point. I mean, the Big 12, I'm sorry, it's off the radar screen right now.
Just a pointed question. We've seen teams like Alabama and other SEC teams get to the championship game with the loss.
Right.
Get a 2-loss LSU team in here. Bama's a big favorite at home. Cannot afford a loss this year. Would you agree? Alabama cannot lose
not this
or
year, no.
and get back.
No, not this year. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's too many other teams that'll move up ahead and then if they slip up.
And the reason why we don't respect Baylor is because of past history.
That's right.
Baylor.
That's fair. That's fair.
You're the guy that's you never had a chance to pick Baylor. Buckeyes were the original headgear pick. You tell me who wins Baylor versus Ohio State hypothetical because it's a toss-up.
Toss-up.
The Eddie Sheriff says it's a toss-up game if they play neutral.
I take Ohio State.
Yeah, but the game the other night, Oregon was favored by 14, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's a way of how teams are viewed by the experts in the desert. And people don't
I had
view Baylor as an underdog.
I
have Stanford.
Preseason.
Exactly.
all the way.
Two guys who picked Stanford here. When the BCS comes out, unless Alabama stumbles here tonight, there'll be one FSU too. Stanford's going to be ranked behind Ohio State, but ahead of unbeaten Baylor.
Yes, sir.
In the mix.
But Chris, they have the most impressive win of the season. People want to trash Oregon, but Oregon's a great program. They just don't handle that moment very well.
All we know is after Thursday night, all we know for sure is if Alabama and Florida State control their own destiny.
Right.
The only two teams,
Exactly.
if they win out, they're going
It's
to
a
go to
done
the
deal.
national
That's
championship.
right.
Next year we can choose